Have you ever felt stuck? Like life is passing by while you're standing still, unsure of which step to take next? We all have moments like that. Moments where fear, doubt, or uncertainty holds us back from moving forward. But what if the thing we're most afraid of is exactly the thing that could change everything? Today, I want to share a story about bridges. Not the ones made of steel and wood, but the bridges we build in our lives through the choices we make, the risks we take, and the connections we forge. It's a story that reminds us that regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from the chances we never took. And it all begins with this quote, "In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take." Lewis Carroll. Eli had always admired bridges, the way they stretched across rivers, valleys, and obstacles, connecting two distant points. To him, they weren't just structures. They were symbols of possibility. But Eli's own life felt like a series of broken bridges. Opportunities came, but he hesitated. Invitations to travel, to try new projects, to meet new people. He always had a reason to say no. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of losing control. It held him back. Eli watched others cross bridges he never dared to attempt, and every time he hesitated, he felt a small part of himself fade. One evening, standing at the edge of a river, he noticed a bridge being repaired. Workers were placing wooden planks, hammering beams, adjusting cables. It was slow, messy work, but each plank added strength, each bolt created a path. Something clicked. Eli realized that bridges weren't perfect. They were built step by step. And so was life. The next morning, he took a small step. He joined a community project he had been curious about. The first meeting was awkward. He stumbled, made mistakes, and worried everyone would notice. But the more he participated, the more the connections formed, the more the bridges appeared. Months later, Eli was leading projects, meeting people he would have never known, and pursuing passions he had once written off as impossible. He understood finally, it wasn't about never failing, it was about choosing to build bridges anyway. Life is made of choices. Moments where the next step is unclear, where fear whispers louder than excitement, where the unknown feels heavier than the familiar. And in those moments, it's easy to stand still, to let the river of life flow past you while you watch. Eli's story reminds us that inaction is the real regret, not failure, not rejection, not falling short. It's the bridges we never cross, the connections we never make, the experiences we deny ourselves. I want to speak to you personally. There are times when life feels overwhelming. Challenges seem too heavy, obstacles too high. And I'll admit, I've felt that too. I've stood at the edge, afraid to move, worried I'd misstep. Maybe you've been there too. But think about it. Even the smallest step, even the tiniest plank in the bridge, matters. You don't need to build the perfect path overnight. You don't need to have all the answers, all the courage, all the timing. You just need to start placing one plank at a time. And here's the truth. Every bridge you build, every choice, every risk, every connection, shapes your story. It shapes who you are. It shapes who you'll become. Even if no one sees the effort, even if some steps fail, even if the bridge sways, it's still progress. I also want to reflect on perspective. Sometimes we think our struggles are bigger than others, that our chances are fewer, that life is unfair. I've been there, and I'll admit I've carried moments that felt heavier than most. But reflecting on the lives of people around me, I realized everyone has their own rivers to cross, their own fears to face, their own bridges to build. Comparing only distracts from the work in front of us. What matters is you keep building. Even in despair, even in exhaustion, even when the world feels unkind or uncooperative, your story isn't over. Every plank you place, every connection you nurture, every choice you make, small or large, adds to the bridge. And when you finally step across, you realize the journey was worth it. So I invite you to think deeply. Where are the bridges in your life waiting to be built? Where have you hesitated? And what small action could you take today to start placing your first plank? Life isn't about perfection. It isn't about guarantees. It isn't about avoiding failure. It's about living, stepping, building, and moving forward despite fear. And in that messy, unpredictable process, you'll find the moments of joy, connection, and pride that make it all worthwhile. Even if the bridge you build is only for yourself, even if no one applauds, even if the path is uneven, you are creating something meaningful. You are writing a story that is uniquely yours, and that is more than enough. If this story resonated with you, take one small step today. Place a plank, cross a bridge, make a choice that moves your life forward. And if you want more stories, reflections, and guidance for navigating life's rivers and building your own bridges, subscribe and stay connected. Your journey, your bridges, your story, they all start with the first step you take today.